Hello, welcome back to the Active Ingredient Podcast. We've got a solo this week, and this week's theme is around giving yourself permission to feel all the things, including incredibly uncomfortable feelings. So, anger, rage, um, jealousy, frustration, disgust, sadness, like all of these, the ones that we don't like, like the ones that we're just simply like not, we don't love to be in them. But what I've realized, and it's like I forget sometimes, but what I realize most of the time is that when I let myself just feel it and like let myself be in the world with that and not hide when I'm in those modes or not like shelter myself from being seen off, like letting yourself be off in whatever way that you're operating, aka letting yourself be human, is such a powerful unlock because you're basically giving yourself permission to be everything, to be all things at any given point. And it is just as human to have those feelings as it is to have the beautiful, light, expansive, abundant, present, energetic, magnetic, all of those beautiful feelings that we love and that feel so good to be in. They are fabulous. And I'm not going to lie, like, I obviously prefer to be in that energy field so much more. But there's so much power and actual potency in the darker side of things. I feel myself resisting that sometimes, like I feel myself not wanting to go there, not wanting to let myself feel it fully, but that stunts me. And I think that for all of us, it would benefit us all to actually get curious on what it's there to teach us, because there's so much potency in those darker emotions. The darker emotions are the contrast that's needed to point you to the lighter versions, right? So when we're feeling anything that's activating, anything that is at that level of discomfort, there is something underneath it that's trying to tell you something. It's trying to like point you in the direction of something. And it's not to say that every single one of these emotions needs to be solved for. Sometimes they're there and they're just there and you just got to sit and ride with it, But a lot of times, if not most times, it is trying to tell you something. It's trying to get you to pay attention. And that's why the contrast and the darkness of it is so potent, because it gets our attention. It grabs our attention because it makes us feel so uncomfortable. And what do humans want more than anything is to feel comfort. So we will orient ourselves around comfort. And so that's why it's so natural to want to resist it, to try to run from those feelings, to try to not let yourself be seen in those feelings, to try to present in a lighter capacity all the time. But what I feel, I'm like, I trust people so much more that I know tap into both of those things and trust themselves on both sides. I trust that so much more because to me, I'm like, you're human. Like that's a human thing to be able to feel all the things. That is the type of person that I want to be around, is someone who can let themselves be there in the darker ones and to not over identify with those things and to actually just get curious and allow them to be there. They're not going to drive. They're not going to be the ones that make decisions. And that's where a lot of the practices and the tools to come inward and to make that space between what's happening and how you're going to respond to something, to not let those things drive. However, they're allowed to be in the car. They're allowed to be in the room. And letting them know that, naming what you're feeling first, and then also just like letting it be there. I feel like when something is telling you something so clear that there's something wrong here or that there's something off here, maybe you're in a meeting or maybe you're feeling like this exchange is not fair and you're feeling taken advantage of, or you're feeling a negative emotion within that context, letting it tell you what it's trying to tell you in order for you to breathe and find where is this trying to point me in the direction of, and how can I course correct here? Or how can I take the learning and then apply it to either this project or the next one? And yeah, I think it all comes back to just being able to sit with the discomfort of what is this? And also, what does the moment need? There's just like different ways that I cope when I'm in those emotions. And honestly, I've in the last few days, I've been feeling those kind of just the energies that I don't love to be in, if I'm being completely honest. It's just one that I don't like. And if I'm being honest, I am trying to not be in them. I'm trying to like move through them. But sometimes it just requires what that feeling is asking for, right? So like every time it's going to require a different thing. For me, there are different modalities that I'm sharing here in case they could be of use to you if you're feeling those things. If this is like a collective thing that we might be all feeling, a lot of times those things are, by the way. But for me, sometimes what it requires is for me to just sit and be with or cry or call my mom or run. Like if I need to just like run and bolt, get that energy out of my system somehow or like transmute that energy out of my system when it's like real rage and like real, just like I feel like so wronged in some way, boxing. Like for me, it's boxing, and I have been craving it, and I crack up because every time that I text my boxing trainer, he I feel like he must be like, oh God, what the hell is Sophie going through right now? His name is Alberto. Actually, I really want him to come on the show, and I just want to talk about the magic of rage and the magic of punching shit, and in like obviously a contained and healthy, free and wild, and just like a very cathartic way. That's the word. I really want to have him on the show to talk about his process because his story is incredible. But yeah, I literally text my guy and I'm like, hey, do you have time for a one-on-one? And I feel like in his mind, he must be like, what's Sophie up to these days? Because it's like, it's rare. And like, I've been boxing with him for almost 10 years at this point. And it's like very intermittent because I'll text him like out of the blue and be like, hey, it's time for a one-on-one. He's like, yep, here, these are my days, these are my hours, let's go. And it really is when I'm like in that tune-up section of my process where it's like, oh, we're processing through the darker sides right now, and I need to do it with you, someone I trust, and someone who can like let me freaking go there entirely. And it feels amazing. And you don't need to do it as a private. There's a million different places that you can box. But if this is coming up, I just wanted to share that as something that maybe could be an outlet to get it out of your system. I know for a lot of people it is running, and running is that one for me too. Shaking, dancing, screaming, writing, crying, like let yourself cry and feel. I feel like I'm due for a good cry. And there's nothing that feels better when you have like a specific feeling and emotion and you're able to meet it entirely in that way. And when I'm feeling that intense of a level where it feels so damn good to box it out and get the rage out of my system. If there's a way for you to scream somehow, like for me, sometimes I do this, and this might sound a little nuts, but underwater, like if you have access to an ocean, underwater screaming, I hear myself and I'm like, oh my God, am I gonna listen back to this and be like, Sophie, like maybe you shouldn't have shared that with the class. But once in a while, when your girl's like really feeling it and she's got all these like bubbling emotions that we've just got to accept, your girl goes underwater and she screams her fucking lungs out. Okay. So I share this because I think that we need to be able to access these things and like let them be there, and not that they need to stay and not that they need to be our essence all the time, but at the level at which you're able to accept the darkness is the same level that you're able to accept the lightness. So as light and expansive as someone is, that means that they're able to touch fucking bottom, you know? So you've got to let yourself feel it, and you've got to also let yourself have that in the room with you and don't hide. That's something that I definitely have done. And I mean, everybody hides in different ways, but I feel like something that I definitely feel, and I think because it's been reinforced in me for so long, like you feel like such light energy, and that is an amazing compliment, and I love it. And sometimes I find myself feeling like, not that I need to perform it, but that if I'm not that, I don't want to like let people down, you know? But I feel like I'm letting people down if I'm not just entirely myself, you know? So And for anybody listening, I want anybody to have permission to just like be all the things. And if you have an off day, you have an off day. Let it be. If you react in a way that you're not proud of, I do it sometimes. And that's okay too. You know, we recognize it. If we need to apologize to someone, we do. We ask ourselves, where is that coming from? Like, what did that just trigger in me? Or where did that come from? And we sit with it. Maybe we write about it, but we move with it, and we like actually think it, because like we need to think those parts. They're trying to point us even more into the light. So they're literally there for that. Like, I believe that that is actually the purpose of them. Like, I believe that they're literally there to be like, hey, you're ready to be able to access this level of light. And in order for you to know where to go, we need the contrast for you to be able to see. Like, you know, when you're in a dark room and there's like a tiny little light, you can only know how to focus on the light because of the dark room that you're in. And you're like, oh, wait, there's the light. The same exact thing applies with these emotions. When you're in that darker energy, and then you see the light somewhere, you're like, oh, there it is. That's the thing that I gotta focus on. And so again, this can apply to literally anything in life, but I have just been like, I've been having these feelings bubble up in me. And like I said, I have a tendency to want to cope with those things alone, first of all, and privately. And then I feel like I'm letting people down if they see me in that energy, if they see me in like a off, not like completely alive, energetic type vibe, which is that is my norm, you know, like that is where I normally am at. But I also am a human being who has other feelings. And again, whenever you see someone who accesses, like, if you see someone who you feel like feels very like light, just know that the degree at which they're able to be and feel light, the exact same, it's equal and opposite. Okay. So they're able to sit with darker, harder, more uncomfortable emotions. At the level at which you can go deep is the level at which you can go high. Inner, outer, yin, yang. It's all the same thing. So I also, as I'm saying this out loud, I'm just like, with not over identifying with either of those things. It's just like, you're in process. Like, that's what it is. You're simply in process. And there's going to be some days, maybe some seasons where it's like more of one or the other. And it's very tempting to over identify with the delicious, expansive light fabulosity, which I love. I'm obsessed with that side of the street. I really genuinely love, and like, of course, that's what I'm always trying to get to. But it is just as valuable to recognize, be with, not judge, metabolize, get curious about, and allow yourself to be witnessed in a safe way by other people when you're there, and remind yourself that you are still lovable and worthy and good at your core and solid, even when you're experiencing all of these things that are as human as it gets. Okay? So this is a little permission slip to let yourself feel everything. I promise you that it is the doorway to feeling all of the fabulous things that this world has got to offer. And so that's all I have for you this week. I am sending you so much love. And I hope that something in here lands, even if you're not in the season right now, to keep it in that back pocket for when it arises, because it will arise. Like, an uncomfortable feeling or a darker side of us will always arise as long as we are human. And so maybe that's not relevant to you today, which fabulous. I'm so happy for you. And when it does arise, I think keeping this in your back pocket of like, not only give yourself permission, but it is par for the course, and it is your doorway through getting to another level, I think. Getting to a deeper level and a more expansive way of being. So I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.